Picture this. A 16th century castle stands on an island in Latvia's Vilaka Lake, built by the Archbishopric of Riga. Its stones once guarded against Muscovite armies. Now, only the water laps at the shore as you cross a swaying pontoon bridge. How does a fortress shift from stronghold to silent ruin? Across continents, forgotten castles lie hidden, out of sight, out of guidebooks, but never out of stories. Their walls once echoed with rebellion, betrayal, and ingenuity before falling quiet. If untold history sparks your curiosity, hit subscribe, because these castles weren't lost to time. They were waiting to be found. Number 10. Pjama Castle, Slovenia. Pjama Castle is a marvel of both engineering and geography. Built in the 13th century into a 400-foot cliff in Slovenia, it was more than just a fortress. It was a riddle for any would-be invader. Behind its stone facade lies a 14-kilometer network of caves and a vertical shaft that supplied fresh water, turning the castle into a near-impenetrable stronghold. In 1484, imperial forces laid siege to the castle, hoping to capture the infamous robber baron Erasmus of Lueg. It should have been a matter of time, but Erasmus used the caves to smuggle in food and supplies. His men even mocked the besiegers by tossing down fresh cherries, proof the siege was failing. His luck ran out only when a traitor revealed the location of his latrine. A well-aimed cannonball ended his rebellion mid-visit. Today, Pjama still clings to its cliffside, its tunnels and dungeons largely untouched. While tourists flock to grander castles, this fortress reminds us that sometimes the greatest defences aren't seen from the outside. They're carved into the stone itself. Number 9. Dunadir Castle, Scotland. Dunadir Castle crowns a hill in Aberdeenshire, where medieval stonework meets the haunting remnants of a much older fort. Built around 1260 AD as a tower house, it incorporates stones from an Iron Age stronghold. Stones that were vitrified, fused into a glass-like mass by heat exceeding 1000 degrees Celsius. Why this happened is still debated. Some archaeologists believe it was intentional, a way to strengthen defences. Others think it was the result of a catastrophic fire during conflict. Either way, the extreme temperatures suggest Iron Age builders possessed advanced knowledge of pyrotechnology, centuries ahead of their time. When medieval masons returned to the site, they saw the value in these strange fused stones and reused them in their new tower. The result is a rare architectural hybrid, where prehistoric experimentation meets medieval defense. Today, Dunadir is silent. No signs, no crowds, just wind across vitrified walls and a mystery waiting to be solved. It's the second most vitrified fort in the world, and perhaps one of the most enigmatic places in Scotland's long martial history. Number 8. Castle Sween, Scotland. On Scotland's Argyll coast, Castle Sween stands as the mainland's oldest stone castle, confidently dated to the 1100s. It was founded by Sween the Red, a Norse chieftain whose name still echoes in both the castle and nearby Loch Sween. Its coastal position and rock-cut ditches reveal a clear strategy: control the waterway, and you control the region. The MacSweens, Sween's descendants, used the castle as both a fortress and a checkpoint, taxing ships that passed through this vital medieval trade route. But the site's story stretches back far beyond the Middle Ages. Archaeologists have uncovered a Neolithic axe and a carved six-knobbed stone ball, proof of ancient settlement. Later finds include brooches, inscribed slates, one depicting a mermaid, and a harp peg tied to the Lords of the Isles, suggesting Castle Sween was also a hub of daily life and artistic expression. Remote and unrestored, the castle's lichen-covered walls have been shaped by centuries of Atlantic wind. For those who make the journey, Castle Sween offers more than ruins. It offers whispers from every age of Scotland's past. Number 7. Bergeltz Germany. Bergeltz rises from a forested valley in Germany's Rhineland-Palatinate, its towers standing much as they have for over 850 years. Unlike most castles battered by war or altered beyond recognition, Bergeltz remains intact, never conquered, never razed. Its preservation isn't luck. The Eltz family, who built it in the 12th century, have owned it ever since, guiding its survival through turbulent eras with quiet diplomacy and careful stewardship. Inside, the castle holds centuries of treasures, an ivory sculpture known as the Ducatenschiesser, a rare pistol-axe hybrid, and household artifacts that reveal the rhythms of noble life. Timber-framed rooms, stone keeps, and narrow staircases remain as they were, untouched by modern reconstruction. Bergeltz is not a story of conquest, but of endurance. It stands as a living monument to resilience, tradition, and the rare power of neutrality. In a world where most castles are ruins or replicas, Bergeltz offers something rarer: continuity. But castles aren't always preserved by peace. Some are reborn through imagination. Number 6. Bnes Castle, Slovakia. Bnes Castle began as a 12th century fortress, its thick stone walls guarding key trade routes across medieval Slovakia. But in the late 19th century, Count Jan Palffy reimagined it entirely. He enlisted architect Joseph Hubert, whose neo-Gothic vision, drawn from French chateaux, transformed Bnes into a romantic masterpiece. Gleaming white towers, steep slate roofs, and vine-covered balconies now crown its medieval core. Inside, spiral staircases connect rooms bathed in stained glass, echoing with the artistry of another age. During restoration, workers uncovered 15th century frescoes hidden beneath layers of plaster. Instead of covering them, they recreated them using traditional techniques, blending old craftsmanship with new imagination. Today, Bnes is a palimpsest, medieval fortification layered with Gothic drama and romantic elegance. Though it's Slovakia's most visited castle, Bnes remains largely unknown outside the region. But those who step inside won't find a ruin. They'll find a living storybook shaped by centuries of taste, power, and reinvention. If you're enjoying these forgotten fortresses, hit like and subscribe, because the top 5 are just getting started. Number 5. Trakai Island Castle, Lithuania. Trakai Island Castle rises from the waters of Lake Galvi, its red brick walls mirrored in the surface. A striking landmark rooted in Lithuania's medieval past. Construction began in the 14th century under Grand Duke Kęstutis and was completed by Vytautas the Great around 1409. Built to defend the Grand Duchy from the Teutonic Knights, Trakai became the heart of Lithuania's military strategy. It endured a brutal attack in 1377 and survived repeated sieges during the civil conflict between Jogaila and Vytautas. Yet the Teutonic Knights never managed to take it. After the 1410 Battle of Grunwald ended that threat, Trakai shifted roles, from fortress to royal residence, and later, a prison for nobles. It fell into ruin during wars with Muscovy, but the 19th century Romantic movement reignited interest. After World War II, Lithuanian experts led a careful restoration, rebuilding it true to its 15th century form, despite Soviet resistance. Today, Trakai remains under the radar internationally, but those who visit discover a castle that didn't just survive. It adapted, transformed, and returned, brick by brick, to tell its story. Number 4. Hokawitz Castle, Austria. Hokawitz Castle rises from the Dolomite rock of Carinthia, perched 172 meters above the valley floor. Between 1570 and 1586, Baron George Kevenhuller transformed it into one of Europe's most defensible fortresses, adding a brutal feature: 14 consecutive gates, each an independent defensive system. Climbing the 620-meter path to the summit meant facing murder holes, arrow slits, and choke points designed to exhaust and disorient attackers. A single misstep could cost a battalion. The Ottomans never reached Hokawitz, but had they tried, they would have found a fortress engineered for endurance, not display. No siege ever made it past the 4th gate. Its drawbridge, still operated by the original winch, remains intact, just like the defensive structures that make this castle a masterclass in layered protection. The Kevenhuller family has owned it ever since, preserving it as a rare example of continuous private stewardship. While many castles fell to time or vanity, Hokawitz stands as a towering reminder that some fortresses were designed not to impress, but to survive. Number 3. Castillo de Loire, Spain. High in the Aragonese hills stands Castillo de Loire, one of the world's best preserved Romanesque military castles. Built in the 11th century under King Sancho el Mayor, it served as a frontline defense against Muslim forces during the Reconquista. While many medieval fortresses were rebuilt or drastically altered, Loire's towers, arches, and arrow slits remain almost exactly as they were nearly 1,000 years ago. Roman coins discovered nearby hint at an even older past, evidence of a former settlement known as Caliguris Fibularia. That continuity speaks to the strategic value of this hilltop, chosen for its sweeping views of the plains. From here, defenders could spot danger days in advance, making surprise attacks nearly impossible. Loire's remote setting helped it escape the renovations that changed so many castles across Europe. What survives today is a rare time capsule of military architecture, untouched and unpolished. While Spain's palaces and citadels attract the crowds, Castillo de Loire offers something rarer. A fortress where you don't just see the Middle Ages, you step directly into them. Number 2. Kzarre Algeria. Kzarre rises from the Algerian Sahara like a question carved in stone. Near the oasis town of Timimoun, this circular fortress has baffled historians for years. No one agrees when it was built. Some suggest the 1st century CE, others as late as the 14th. Its purpose remains just as elusive. The double-layered walls and total absence of windows suggest a military role, yet others argue it was a granary, a prison, or a caravanserai, sheltering traders on trans-Saharan routes. Inside, no inscriptions survive. A carved Jewish symbol found in the adobe hints at later occupants, possibly refugees fleeing the Iberian expulsions of 1492. Still, without excavation, its stories remain buried in silence. Kzarre's architecture is its only witness. Concentric walls, multiple levels, and internal wells point to a structure built for endurance. Yet without records, even its builders remain unknown. In the Sahara, the desert both preserves and erases. Kzarre stands as a reminder that history's greatest puzzles often rise not from books, but from sand, stone, and silence. Number 1. Fasil GBI Ethiopia. At the heart of Gondar, Ethiopia, stands Fasil GBI, a 17th century fortress city founded by Emperor Fasilides in 1636. Enclosed by a 900-metre stone wall, the compound once housed palaces, churches, libraries, and underground escape tunnels. Its architecture blends Portuguese, Hindu, Arab and Baroque influences, the latter introduced by Jesuit missionaries, creating a landscape where domes rise beside turrets and sweeping arches meet sharp angles. It's unlike any other castle in the world. Fasil GBI isn't just a relic, it's still alive. Each January, thousands gather at Fasilides' sunken royal bath for Timkat, Ethiopia's Epiphany celebration. Ritual immersion continues in the same waters once used by emperors, tying architecture to faith and daily life across generations. Despite its UNESCO World Heritage status, Fasil GBI is often left out of castle conversations. It predates Versailles and rivals it in ambition, yet remains largely unknown outside Ethiopia. Its story, born from cultural fusion and royal power, reminds us that castles aren't only built of stone, they're built of memory, legacy, and sometimes traditions that never stopped. Rediscovery is changing how we see these hidden fortresses. With tools like 3D modeling, researchers can now explore and reconstruct sites once thought inaccessible, revealing how people built, adapted, and survived in places the world nearly forgot. These technologies are opening new chapters in the study of architecture, especially for castles outside the usual spotlight. So next time you travel, look beyond the postcard landmarks. That distant ruin or forgotten tower might hold stories just as rich as any celebrated citadel. Which hidden castle should we explore next? Drop your suggestions in the comments. And if you're drawn to lost legends and overlooked strongholds, hit like, share this with a fellow history lover, and subscribe. The past isn't finished speaking, and we're just getting started.